Welcome, fishmen, to Geek Salad's retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
Nice. And tonight we begin our month-long topic where Mike and I are going to be talking about classic golden age black and white comedies from various groups and comedians at the time. And we're going to start off tonight with what is considered to be the first of the great Marx Brothers comedies.
Okay. All right.
The one that, all right, I'm going to give a little backstory on what we did here. So we wanted to review Duck Soup, which is the greatest Marx Brothers movie ever. However, it ain't streaming anywhere, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
That this movie, most of them are in the public domain. Most of them are streaming on Tubi and various places like that. So it was really weird that Duck Soup was not in there. So we were going to start with the Coconuts, and then I noticed that Animal Crackers was right behind it in Tubi, and I'm like, this is the better movie, because I started watching Coconuts, Mike, and it is, you can definitely tell it was like their first swing at all this. They're still trying to find their footing. I feel like they found it in Animal Crackers. No, I love the Marx Brothers. I really enjoy that for so early in the history of cinema, how fast and how witty they are, especially with Groucho is just he is the keystone of this entire organization.
You can definitely tell, you can definitely get the feel of their vaudeville origins from this. Big time. And this is the very first thing of the Marx Brothers I've ever actually seen.
Okay.
I've seen, clips of them. I've seen, they pop up in animated form in like a lot of Looney Tunes stuff and like that.
Right.
So I was aware of, I know who they are, but I'd never actually seen them.
Yeah. They used to do on Channel 56 back in I was like the younger end of teenagedom. They used to every once in a while have a Marx Brothers movie on for like their 8 o'clock movie. And
are you talking like Dana Hershey?
No, that's Channel 38.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure if he was 38 or 56, so he was both at some time.
56 had the more like the cartoon block with radio DJ Dale Dorman, and then 8 o'clock you'd usually get a movie. You'd get in the between 5 and 8 you get like the 70s reruns of stuff like Happy Days, Welcome Back Kotter, Laverne and Shirley, and then you'd get the movie. And I remember watching, it was Duck Soup was the first one I watched. And I remember my mother was watching it with me. She's like, this just proves that you don't really need to swear to be funny. That stuck with me. The fact, too, is that I actually applied to go to college at SUNY Fredonia, which is the fictitious country in Duck Soup. But we're not talking about Duck Soup.
No.
We are talking about Animal Crackers, which takes place in the very real area of Long Island, New York.
And I gotta say, Groucho was, very, very much front and center. He was by no means my favorite.
Okay, do tell.
It felt like whenever he was just alone, or with Mrs. Rittenhouse.
Yes.
It felt like he was just kind of almost hogging the spotlight. He was just like kind of just throwing his comedy just in your face like that. Which it was fine when it worked better when he was playing off like Chico and
Harpo,
yeah. When those three were doing their thing together, that's when everything was clicking and Groucho was making sense to me. When he was on his own, he felt much.
Okay, I can understand that.
For me, it honestly, if you're talking just like the straight, like all around best comedian of the group,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was hands down Chico.
Chico is, I think, I'm not going to give Zeppo any more credit than he deserves. Zeppo was definitely the straight man of the group.
Oh yeah,
But
I bet you barely know he's one of the group unless you
right,
see the credits.
exactly. And then Gummo was just like in 2 movies, and then like, I'm going to be an agent.
Yeah,
Chico, I think, is one of the most underrated of the Marx Brothers. His character is a lot of fun. Just this constantly doing that Italian
yeah. I mean,
stereotype.
when they were doing their whole like yeah, I didn't show up yesterday. That's $300. When they were doing that whole bit,
Yeah,
that was genuinely like one of the very first genuine laughs I was getting from the movie.
yeah. What astounded me also was Harpo, mainly because Harpo was a very accomplished musician. They all were
Oh yeah, when
in their
Chico
own
was playing the
right.
piano there,
Yeah.
you could tell like they were showing him with his hands on the keys. You could tell
Yep.
he was playing that 100%.
Well, and the actual harp
Oh yeah,
as well. Harpo is such an interesting character too, because I feel like almost as much as Groucho, Harpo is probably more ensconced in the in kind of like the lexicon of Hollywood.
yeah. I would agree with that. You like
Yeah.
even if you don't really know anything about Chico or Zeppo or Gummo was technically never a
Yeah,
thing.
well, let's not. Yeah,
If you think of the Marx Brothers, you think of Groucho with his mustache, which was very clearly on the
oil.
HD version I
It
was
has
seeing.
always been up until very late in his career. That's always been oil paint.
Yeah, but you think of Groucho, and you think of Silent Gummo. I'm sorry, Harpo.
That's
Yes.
okay. Yeah, no, and his stuff, the lady chasing is always fun. Watching him have to get through things silently is an absolute joy. But getting back for me and Groucho, who is Captain Spaulding, which Sid Haig played a character called Captain Spaulding in The Devil's Rejects.
There are so many references from MST3K now that I get. Oh, now Captain Spaulding. I was like,
the thing with Groucho I liked was, first of all, he's more physical, I think, than anybody ever really gave him credit for. Just like when they're singing the Captain Spaulding song, and he's kind of like doing this wide-legged dance, which is very impressive. When he his ability to just kind of crumple on command is really good. And again, he was the fast talker. He was the one who his character was, and pretty much for the entirety of his career was being the fast talking leader of the gang.
Yeah.
He's the man of means. And just his classic like wide-legged tuxedo jacket, pants and jacket. I love that. I really loved what he was doing with Lillian Roth, who played Mrs. Rittenhouse.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the trivia for this, that he had always considered, like, he always thought of her as Mrs. Rittenhouse going forward.
I could see that. And one thing I did really enjoy about their kind of chemistry.
Oh, it's Margaret Dumont. I'm sorry, not Lillian Roth. It's Margaret Dumont.
Okay. But like when he's sitting there while Chico's playing a piano, Mr. Rittenhouse is sitting next to him, and he's occasionally just throwing out those little bits between him and back and forth between him and Chico.
Yeah.
You could tell like she was just like she was flashing these smiles, like you could tell she was like she wanted to break.
Yeah.
But she was holding it back.
Well, it was the same thing like with the card game.
Yes.
Harpo and Chico in the card game. Which I just, I saw the cards come out and I'm like, oh no, what are they going to do? And that's kind of the thing that I enjoy about the Marx Brothers is that, it's, the plot, this is a very thin plot.
Yeah.
There is a priceless painting, and there's a wannabe artist who wants to get married, but his, he's painting a replica of the painting, and he wants to prove that he's a better painter. And then there's somebody else who's painting a lesser than
Yeah.
painting,
Who
so they
wants to
can
just
steal the other
embarrass Miss
Yeah,
Rittenhouse? Yeah.
and that's the story.
And like one thing that did kind of bug me is that like after both the paintings are or all three of the paintings are stolen,
Yeah.
the what was it, Mrs. Whitehouse, or the one that was trying to embarrass her?
Oh.
Um
I'll look that up in just a second.
Mrs. Whitehead.
Mrs. Whitehead, yeah.
Her and the butler instantly knew that it was the professor.
Yeah.
Like, how did you know that? You knew that because it was written in the script.
Yeah.
There was no physical reason for you to know that other than we needed to get that point out.
Yeah. And again, when you're watching something like this, you're not watching high art. You're watching essentially what is, and this is all pulled from their stage production.
Yeah, you can tell that.
That it's scenes.
Yeah.
It's scenes of comedy. That's why you get these elongated scenes with things like the card game.
Yeah.
And Spalding having Thornburg, asking him to write the letter. And that back and forth between Zeppo and Groucho, which I thought was great.
Yeah, and like the whole telling the story about his time in Africa. It's like, yeah, that's a stage vaudeville bit right there.
Right.
Word for word, almost.
Couple things also about this. So first of all, AFI's top 100 quotes.
I one shot it.
I one shot an elephant in my pajamas. How I got in my pajamas, I'll never know.
Yeah,
was in that list. Great line. But there's that bit towards the end where he actually looks at the camera and says, "They can't all be funny." And that came from like an audience response.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was probably part of the bit where he'd say like a joke that they knew they would not get a laugh, and he would just pause and like, they can't all be funny.
Yeah, exactly. And then that would get the audience to laugh. And that was the thing, like, doing, like, learning about the Marx Brothers and learning about what an astute, like, reader Groucho was. That was always his thing. He was always about learning more and being able to, and that made him a natural game show host when he did.
You Bet Your Life.
You Bet Your Life, yeah. Is that like game show? Is it? I want to say it's you Bet Your Life, but I could be wrong.
Just pulling up his Wikipedia. Yeah, You Bet Your Life.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, he hosted that from
50 to 61.
Yeah.
And that's back when he grew in his own mustache. But
that's another thing that it kind of became his thing that I was surprised wasn't really in this one is you don't really see him with a cigar too much.
No, and you never really see him smoking it either. It's usually it's more like a hand prop.
Yeah,
because there are times it ends up in a pocket.
But yeah, because
I have a feeling that part of that might just be through the live show.
Yeah, because the image I always have of Groucho is the mustache and the just constantly twisting the say the magic word. And the duck comes
almost
down.
Never lit.
Yeah,
that's why it works so well with the stork and the Vlasic pickle.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of surprised that he didn't he hadn't integrated that into his bit yet, or at least not in this movie anyway.
The walk is a weird one because the walk I think evolved over time. Because he did walk with more of a stooped, like when you do like the whole Groucho thing, it's the stoop walk, one arm behind your back, cigar out.
Yeah.
Which the show Schmigadoon did this great bit about how like 70s musicals would always go back to maybe two old comedy bits when necessary. It was almost always the Groucho thing. They'd say a line and they do the Groucho thing with the cigar. But yeah, I enjoyed this one, considering this wasn't our first choice, nor was it going to be our original choice after we realized what we were kind of left with. I'm glad we watched this one because I wanted to get something on the earlier side. I didn't want to get late. I don't want to get later Marx Brothers, because by that point they knew that they were starting to wind down. They made movies into the 1940s. Chico would be dead within 10 years.
I looked it up, and Chico, I think, was the first to die. He died in 1961.
He died in 1961. Okay, yeah. He was the first to die because alcohol. He had gambling. He was like a devilish gambler.
I looked up some of his autobiography. He was like grifting people in the card games for like when he was like 9.
Yeah. But you think about that. You think about the upbringing of having 5 boys.
Yeah.
You know, in what I'm assuming is a Jewish tenement somewhere. You know, and what do these kids do? They learn music and they go on stage, and that's kind of like their family.
Yeah.
Their family band.
And Zeppo was the last one to die. He died in 1979.
Yeah.
Well, he was also the youngest, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I remember seeing a thing too on Groucho because Gummo died, but he died before Groucho did. But Groucho was too old that they didn't tell him.
Oh.
Because they felt like the news of Gummo dying was going to kill him.
Oh. Okay.
And he died soon afterwards. So, but yeah, no, this is. I'm glad you finally got a chance to watch a Marx Brothers movie.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not really my favorite, black and white comedy that I've ever seen. But for the first Marx Brothers movies I've ever seen, I would be lying if it said it didn't give me several laughs.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean,
it's an evolution. I think what we're going to be talking about this month is an evolution of comedy, which is interesting with our next movie, which I'll talk about a little bit. Whenever I think of the movie we're doing next week, I always think, oh, that was like the 1920s, and like, no, it's not actually. Nope. But we are going to see an evolution, especially in terms of physical comedy, in terms of that rapid speed conversation. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this because we've got a lot of good stuff. Coming up. I know we got a couple of little gems that you're going to talk about later this month as well.
Oh yeah.
So,
I've got it narrowed down. Don't worry.
Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot more to say about this because, again, you can't talk about the plot. You're more talking about like the performances here.
Yeah.
I will let you know when I see Duck Soup become available on any of the streaming services that we have access to.
Yes,
I will let you know.
Please do.
I haven't watched it in forever, and I was so looking forward to watching it.
Whenever I think of the Marx Brothers, that's the movie everyone always thinks of.
Duck Soup's the one. Yep. Duck Soup and A Night at the Opera.
Yeah, I even think because Duck Soup, I think of, and A Night at the Opera. I'm like, oh yes, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but Duck Soup is the toppest of the tiers.
Yeah.
So that's the Marx Brothers. We'll look forward to having our conversation next week. We can bring up another one from another decade also.
Yeah?
No, almost.
No.
30, yeah.
Yeah, still 30s, yes.
So, anyway, we want to know, have you seen Animal Crackers? What is your favorite Marx Brothers movie, if you have one? Who's your favorite Marx brother?
Yeah.
Good question to ask. Leave that polite comment below. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. thumbs up. You know the deal. It helps us in the algorithm. Also, you can follow Mike and I on the socials on Facebook, Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook and at Geek Salad Radio on Blue Sky. Mike and I also host a podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast. You can even get the audio here and join in on the live conversations when we broadcast live, which next week we are going to be...
Yes.
We're
trying
going
to.
Quickie episode in January. So, yeah,
Hopefully.
we'll be up. So feel free to get in on that chat and get in on that conversation. So I think that's about it. So until next time, I'm Andy. Go for
That's
it.
all I'm giving you.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. I am Mike, by the way.